Hi, I'm Zeb89, YouTuber and streamer. Been playing Dead by Daylight for about 2,200 hours, more or less, give or take. And with this video, I'm coming out with my idea about how I personally would balance Decisive Strike. Now, Decisive Strike is, without a doubt, one of the most controversial perks in Dead by Daylight. You get a load of people who are basically bashing the perk for being OP, which is true currently. And many people want it fixed. Many people want it out of the game. Many people want it deleted. The consensus right now is that it needs to change and something needs to be done, alright? Now this is my 2 cents, so feel free to disagree with me. You know, you can get back to me in the comments below telling me why I'm a delusional moron who has no idea how the game should be balanced. That's okay, I can take criticism. But allow me to explain. Now, what I have in mind is something slightly different from what the developers have in mind. They've stated recently that they want to basically nerf the perk into the ground, and if they go ahead with this, the result will be simple. No one will be using Decisive Strike anymore. Well, that's a good thing. People shouldn't be using it. Well, if the idea of balancing a perk is to kill it, then I guess, but no. My idea differs, so just allow me to explain. You may agree, you may disagree, whatever. As I said, I got over 2,000 hours in this game. I play both killer and survivor. Current season I'm rank 3 killer, rank 1 survivor, more or less. Having a hard time finding lobbies as killer, but whatever. I guess I'm probably slightly survivor sided, but whatever. I mean, it's not like my idea is gonna actually happen anyway, but here goes. So my idea is that with Decisive Strike, you shouldn't be able to use the perk right off the bat. I mean, I already know that there's the obsession system implemented where if you're not the obsession, you need to get to a certain wiggle percentage before you can actually use Decisive. That's okay, but my idea goes beyond that. When I say not be able to use the perk, I mean actually you shouldn't be able to use the perk right off the bat. Say the killer picks you off quickly. You shouldn't be able to just use Decisive and get that free escape. You shouldn't be able to do that. My idea, guys, is that Decisive Strike is a perk which would need to be charged by the survivor. What does it mean? Zeb, what do you mean by charged? Well, simply, you would need to accumulate chase time in order to be able to unlock Decisive Strike and be able to use it against the killer. How would that work? Simply put, during chases, a counter will start counting the amount of time you've been keeping the killer busy, and basically when you get to, let's say, around 2 minutes chase time, at that point, boom, your Decisive Strike is enabled, it's unlocked and ready for use. So basically you would need 2 minutes chase time. That's my idea, although the time probably would need tweaking. Could be 2.5 minutes, it could be 1.5 minutes. Anyway, after this period of time, you've been keeping the killer busy, you've proved your worth, you've just unlocked Decisive Strike. Congratulations! Because at that point, Decisive would become a sort of anti-tunneling perk, and you only get to use it once you've been keeping the killer busy for a significant amount of time. And I think that is the only intelligent way to fix this issue. Now, when you're getting chased by the killer and you get downed or hooked or interrupted, then obviously your timer gets reset and you would need to get those 2 minutes from scratch. This means that if you're a bad survivor, you would basically not be able to use that perk. You would basically have 1 perk slot less for the entire duration of the match. This would force bad players to essentially drop Decisive Strike altogether because they would never get to use it. And I think this is a good idea. Now, bear with me. Let's say that as a killer you get a toxic toilet juice survive with friends team which basically wants to bully you, and they're running 4 Decisive Strikes. Okay, what happens? You start chasing one guy, he's pretty good, he keeps you busy for 2 minutes. Well, you gotta be a kind of a bad-ish killer if he's really keeping you busy for that long. But whatever, you finally down him, and since he's charged his perk, he gets to use his Decisive Strike, you get stunned, wah, boo-hoo. But guess what? Since during that chase you've broken pallets and stuff, the next guy that you get to chase doesn't survive for 2 minutes because pallets have been broken, you see? So that would fix the issue of multiple Decisive Strikes being used in a single match. While the first guy, granted he's good, may keep you busy for 2 minutes, the next guy I'm pretty sure he's not gonna make it. Or at the very least, he's gonna have a much harder time finding pallets and loops. So I think the charge system is really the best way to go about changing this perk, and it actually will be a nerf if you think about it. And many people will disagree. I mean, I know by recording this video, I already know that many of you will say, no, well, if you're that good, that means you don't need Decisive Strike. If you're good enough to keep the killer for 2 whole minutes or more, then you don't need the perk. It needs to go, it needs to drop, it needs to be removed, it needs to be killed. No one has to be using this. This is the devil. Well, I beg to differ. I think the best way to go about this is fix the issue, but not just kill off the perk. I mean, I've been playing the game for long enough to tell you that less than 1% of survivors would manage to pull that off. And if you have as much playtime as I do, I think you'd agree, you'd tend to agree. So instead of just nerfing it into the ground and making it a stun perk, which no one will ever use, just make it a charge perk. Personally, what I foresee happening is that survivors in general will get really frustrated and just start dropping the perk anyway. They'd start saying, oh well, 2 minutes is too long, wah, it's too hard. And basically bad survivors will no longer be running the perk. And if they do, then it's good for you. They basically have 1 perk slot less for the entire match, which as a killer is a good thing. They would be actually helping you out at that point. But I still strongly believe that if you are a good survivor and you actually manage to buy your team that much time, and the killer is basically griefing you since you're good at escaping, he just wants to kill you, he's no longer interested in the rest of the team, which does happen a lot to me, by the way, then I feel that why not? Why not get that escape that you've earned? I mean, people could still run enduring. In my opinion, this would be by far the best solution to Decisive Strike, but tell me what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you in the fog.